The great thing about a special election, there are a lot of drawbacks, but the great thing is it's so fluid in such a, its content's under pressure is what it is, because you can't, as a campaign, run the way you would normally run with a normal fundraising cycle, a normal staffing up cycle. It's compressed into these few months. So it makes it harder to predict, I think. Look at Senator Brown, Scott Brown, when he got elected in January of 2010. Nobody saw that coming until about 2 weeks before. But with this unusual cycle that really knocks, I think, politicians off their game and operatives off their game and puts them under this intense pressure, I think it's harder to predict. Well, the Democratic establishment has lined up behind Congressman Markey, I think at the expense, for now, the expense of Congressman Lynch. And what makes that so unpalatable for many in the labor movement, particularly a segment of the labor movement that includes the building trades, what people refer to as the hard hats, is that Steve Lynch is one of them. Steve Lynch worked his way up. He was an iron worker until he hurt his back. Then he put himself through law school. He became president of the union. He was a labor lawyer for a long time. He co-founded the Labor Caucus, Labor and Working Families Caucus, I believe it's called, in Washington. He's really sort of been a stalwart for labor, and that's how he's identified, how he identifies himself and how he's identified nationally. The problem for him is he's running against Ed Markey, who has also had a very good labor score. They're both rated above 90% by the AFL, I believe. So it doesn't sit well with Lynch's folks. Is Lynch able to sort of jujitsu that into an advantage the way Senator Brown did, saying, look, the establishment's against me, Washington's against me, Beacon Hill's against me, but I'm for you. If Lynch can pull that off, then he's got a real fighting shot. Massachusetts is always among the most watched in the country. It's what we do here. Politics is one of our chief exports. As of now, I think we're a ways off from having a solid field, and I don't mean that in a pejorative sense. I mean I don't think the field is set yet on either the Republican or the Democratic side. I think a lot of people in politics, there's a tradition of sort of waiting your turn in the election cycle. I think once the special Senate election, after the primary on April 30th, and then after the general in June, I think that's when you're going to see both the senatorial, 2014 senatorial, and 2014 gubernatorial election get underway. I think you'll see the media shift its focus. I think you'll see the political class shift its focus, and a lot of the political operatives that we talked about are going to be looking for jobs. So I think they'll shift their focus, and that's when you're going to see it kick up.